yesterday, if you listened or watched, you heard Thom talking about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is an amazing, important agency that is actually looking out for you and me. And they were working to ban the fine print in these contracts like arbitration clause. That's what Thom talked about yesterday.
Right. Essentially, when your phone contract, your a lot of utilities are this way, your cable contract, electric, things like that, and many others. In fact, when you go to a hospital, sometimes if you sign those forms, there's arbitration clauses. When
you buy stuff, you're automatically assumed to agree to their arbitration clause.
Right.
Right.
In other words, you can't sue.
Right. And this is all stuff, if you haven't seen, there's a great documentary, Terms and Conditions. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's
also, Hot Coffee.
Hot Coffee, another one, Susan Saladoff.
Yes.
Which is not about, it's not as cut and dried as, oh, somebody's silly enough to pour hot coffee on themselves and sue.
It's very much about the Seventh Amendment and people waiving their rights to trial.
Right.
Because they have no choice.
And more these days, you know, you're forced. You have a device, a phone, a tablet, a computer, and you actually want to, I don't know, use it.
Right. You want to make a call?
You want to
get a text message?
Right. And however, in order to do so, you have to upgrade software. And part of that software upgrade involves agree on that terms and conditions.
Sure.
And you don't get to debate. You don't get to go line by line and say, I don't like this part. Can we, negotiate this? It's take it or leave it, buddy. Or you don't get to use that product that
you already paid for.
You might have paid $600, $700, $1,000 for if you're talking a computer. Apple is one such device. Apple iPhones. Nagware, as it's called, forces you to upgrade your Apple phone. You have to upgrade. It will continue to message you over and over and over. There's an upgrade ready do you want to install now? Do you want to install later? Do you want to install tonight?
And it's insidious too, because it will change your options in terms of what order they're in. So if you get used to kind of saying no,
I haven't noticed that yet. It does that too.
It'll flip it the next time, or remind me later, or do it tonight at 2 a.m. It'll flip them.
Right.
It's remarkable.
And part of that terms and conditions is also about their new Apple Music. You may notice that app, download on your phone as part of a new upgrade, and you can subscribe or get a free trial for their software and that service. Now, granted, I'm a fan of music services because you can't own every single song out there, but
we're also a fan of getting money to the artists and the who produced that. And
I'm a fan of being able to still maintain the collection of music, especially Shane. And you have a long history of working in music, in bands, etc. I have thousands of CDs that I've collected over the years and downloaded onto my home computer. Jim, who is the video director here, is the same, has lots of music that he went out and bought a CD. I know this is dating us,
Back in my day when they had CDs, they're these circular things.
On that wax cylinder.
Oh, yeah. We dropped the needle onto the big ones.
We have these music collections, as Jim did, and he went to look for a song and play a song today, and boom, his music's gone.
Poof.
What do you know? All his music had been deleted from his phone. And so after doing a
legally purchased music.
Right. And after doing a little digging, I found this post, or actually Jim found this post and I printed it, by Talking Dog over at Democratic Underground. And the title is Apple Stole My Music. No, seriously. And he references a video about where this happened. And he says, what Amber, I presume in the video, was explained was exactly what I'd feared. Through the Apple Music subscription, which I had, Apple now deletes files from its users' computers. When I signed up for Apple Music, iTunes evaluated my massive music collection of MP3s and WAV files, scanned Apple's database for what it considers matches, and then removed the original files from my internal hard drive. Removed them. Deleted them. If Apple saw a file it didn't recognize, which came up often since I'm a freelance composer and have many music that they created myself, it would have then downloaded it to Apple's database, delete it from my hard drive, and serve it back to me when I wanted to listen, just like it would with my other music files it had deleted.
So essentially what it wants to make itself, they've come up with this software idea to make themselves so that you get the trial, but if you want to keep listening to your own music, you have to pay them.
Right.
An incredible business model if you can get away with it.
But you know darn well, it's in the terms and conditions.
There it is. And by the way, did you have a chance to read that? Of course not.
No, because if you actually wanted to use that computer, your phone, your device, you had to click agree, or good luck making that next call, buddy.
And from my understanding, this isn't like they said, I'm going to try out this music service. So there was a conscious effort. This was, you have to update your phone. As part of that update, here's your terms and conditions.
Right.
And we're going to put it on there, and you're going to have the free trial because it's part of this whole thing. And there goes your music. So in other words, if you want your phone to stop bugging you, we're going to take all your music away from you.
And just think about this. I mean, for me, for Shane, that although you have some original music, most of what we might lose, maybe we can just pop that CD back in and re-download. But think if you're a composer, if you spent hours or weeks or months or years even developing an original piece of music, to have another company come into your device, remove it, and then sure, they'll let you listen to it again. Good luck listening to it if you stop that subscription.
Right. Now everyone can say, "Well, why are you whining about music? There's so much bigger things going on in the world." But this is part of the bigger picture, I think, where you started, Danielle. And there's two kind of things that are going on here in terms of contracts. So we'll do a little bit of law school here. Just for a minute, bear with me. Contracts. Conservatives love to talk about the freedom to contract. Everyone should be able to contract however they want. Government, stay out of it. The problem is that in a lot of contracts is what's called unequal bargaining position. You have one party that's far more powerful than the other one, and of course, the other one gets screwed. That's what's happening here. I don't know of lawsuits that are happening yet, but there's two ways that we can go after these contracts. Because consider if this were a hospital, something far more serious than your music. You go into a hospital, you sign one of these arbitration clauses, they do surgery on you, they cut off the wrong leg. Something serious, and you really want to sue them in a court of law. You don't want to go to the arbitration. There's such a thing as called a duress, contracts under duress, which this probably isn't, in that duress usually is a force or threat. Although arguably in the hospital situation, if you don't sign it, you are at threat of bleeding out if the situation is dire enough. There's also things called adhesion contracts, and that's what these are. These are adhesion contracts where the bargaining position is so unequal, there's no opportunity whatsoever to negotiate.
Right.
It's on such a mass scale. They know you're not going to read it. You can't read it. You can't negotiate. So the question is, this may be one of the ways out of it, but a better way is to have Congress do something about it. Right. And that's why we're talking about this so much over the last 2 days. Congress can step up and do this if we could get conservatives out of the way.
Right. And it also just speaks to corporate power in general, which has grown to a point so beyond our control that, it's easy to recognize the big things. It's easy to use that hospital example Shane mentioned and easily see who's in the wrong. But, you get into these smaller issues, and that's when people are like, oh, well, did they really take it if they're just storing it for you somewhere else? Or, they need to do that to fight against music piracy. You start getting all these excuses, all this gray area. And all of a sudden, the whole point that somebody has gone into your property and taken your possession becomes muted. And, just like the arbitration clause, these terms and conditions really need to be reviewed. That's what the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Board, is looking into. That's what they're there for. And that's why agencies like that need to be protected and funded. And we need to have people in charge of them who actually fight for the little guy. So, love to hear your stories about similar things next.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.